Happy Tuesday morning, y'all. I kind of got in a little bind this morning. I forgot to get Buddy to hook my apple peeler up. I was going to hook it to the side of the table and then peel my pears just like you would apples. But that didn't happen, and I couldn't put these pears off because I'm noticing there's a few of them that's going to go away on me if I don't, bust out some hours peeling. So I'm just going to hand peel them and get them sliced, and that's what I've been working with. But I'm going to stop for a second and show y'all. I've got my 2-gallon glass crock, and I've just been measuring out my slices and writing it down on my tablet. That way, when I give you the recipe, we'll have the exact measurements. But right now, I'm just peeling them, slicing them, putting them over into the crock that has water in it and a good glug of lemon juice. That's just so they don't turn on me while I'm getting them all ready. Because we're going to be doing pear preserves and we will be making pear butter. So that is the plan for today. What I hope to do is go ahead and get our pear butter going. And then tomorrow we will meet back up to go ahead and get our pear preserves. But I'll show you, because my pear preserves I like to cover in sugar, set into the refrigerator, and they will sit for 24 hours. And we will cook them down in this natural syrup that they render, sitting in the ice box. So I'm just going to get these cut, and I think I got into the core, but that's okay. I'm trying to get as much as I can off of these pears. Now these are cannon pears. These are not soft eating pears. And to me, they make the best pear preserves. I always like to go through and make sure that I don't have any bad spots or any skin. So when I put that sugar on them and set them into the refrigerator, and we'll do that together, I find that that sugar and a little bit lemon juice will pull the moisture out of these pears, and that's what you want, because then they'll firm up and hold the preserved shape. But that's just in, my experience. So I'm almost there. Let's see if I can fill that up. And that's all I'm going to do, guys. And then I'll meet you back here. It could be late this afternoon. But I definitely want to get all of these sliced, because I'll be using the slices for preserves as well as the pear butter. Guys, it took me all morning. It's already 1:20. But I was able to get probably a 5-gallon bucket, probably 7 gallons of pears peeled. And I'm gonna tell you, my poor hands are hurting. I've got 32 cups of sliced apples, and as I would add apples, I would top off with a little water, and I would put just a glug, a couple of tablespoons of lemon juice, and I did that until I filled this 2-gallon crock up. Now I've got to drain these apples, because this is going to soak for 24 hours. All I did was strain them in this colander, and I set it in the bowl so it wouldn't leak everywhere. I did not rinse with water, because remember, these had lemon juice. I want to keep any residual lemon juice on them. So if I had to guess, if you were doing 32 cups, there was probably a half a cup of lemon juice total to this 2-gallon crock. But I am working with 32 cups of sliced pears. I will leave a single batch down in the description. But right now we're just going to layer these pears with sugar. There's 1 cup of sugar. 2. And there's 5 cups of sugar. But what I like to do, so I'm not adding sugar when we get ready to cook these down, some add their last cup when it's on the stove, but I like to add my 6th cup at this point. You can cut this recipe in half, but I know about how much it takes for the winter months when I'm making pear preserves. So 32 cups of sliced pears, and you want to measure them after they're sliced, 6 cups of sugar. So I've got my pears and my sugar ready to go into the refrigerator, and it's going to pull all that liquid. It's going to keep our pear slices in shape. They won't get mushy to make our pear preserves. Pear preserves is really just getting them prepped, set into the ice box. But the way I do mine is low and slow. So in the morning, very early, we're gonna get these cooking. I have cooked these up to 3 hours. It kind of depends on how soft they are. But whatever you do, don't rinse that lemon juice off that you were putting in your water to preserve the color. You drain most of it off, but that residual pure bottled lemon juice, now I don't use fresh lemons when I'm making my preserves because I will be water bath canning. I'm gonna drop the camera. All I did was drain these pears. I didn't rinse. I still need that residual lemon juice on them, but we will add a little bit more lemon juice to these pears. This is what my crock pot, we're doing it in the crock pot. Now, I believe I did a video years back where I used my small roasting pan, but because I'm gonna be in and out, with a roasting pan, you do have to stir more often than in a crock pot, a slow cooker. So I opted for my slow cooker because that way I can go back and forth because I've got other things going inside the house kitchen. I have 20 cups of sliced pears. There again, you can cut this in half because in the description I will leave a single recipe. And this is basically dump and go. Three cups of sugar. I don't like my pear butter too sweet, but we have 1 cup of brown sugar. And guys, I almost got it on the counter. Good Lord. We've got 3 cinnamon sticks. I like to use the cinnamon stick because cinnamon can get gritty on you. Now, this is optional. You can use any flavor, but I like the whole clove and the allspice. You can use cardamom. I don't care for the cardamom, but many of you that has followed me seen me use my little stainless steel tea strainers. My round ones in the house, this is just a cute little heart one. And I like to put all of my whole seasonings in this. That way, when it's through cooking, I can just pull this out and I'm not trying to fish out clove or allspice. But this is going to be the key. For this amount, I am going to add 3 whole cloves. Trust me, you don't want the clove and the allspice to overpower. 1, 2, 3. 3 of each, and that's all that I want. Because it's going to cook for so long, just this little amount will bring this all together without that strong, overpowering taste. And you can leave the allspice out. I know a lot of people don't like allspice. So I'm just going to get this tucked down in here, just like that. Now, because I did not rinse these pears, I'm only going to add 1/4 of a cup of pure lemon juice. This right here. Now, I just set it over into the crock pot holder I put it on high with the lid on. I want it to go at least 2 hours on high before I start stirring, and then that'll let me see how much juice is going to come from that. And then I'll decide either to keep the lid on, or if it's too much juice, we'll take the lid off. But I will show you each step. So now I can clean up. Pear butter's going, 2 hours on high, lid on. Our pears are ready for tomorrow for our preserves. So that wasn't too bad. I just thought about something, and I'll put that in the description. In 2 hours, because of the lemon juice, it's going to lend me a little bit of liquid. But in 2 hours, I notice there's not enough liquid because I let them, I pulled them too soon and started cutting them, meaning they're not fully ripe where you get more juice. Then I will go back and add a half a cup of apple juice or water. It doesn't matter. But the ones I picked for the apple butter, I don't think I'll have to add any extra liquid other than that 1/4 cup of lemon juice. But we'll see in 2 hours, so make that a mental note. You may have to add a half a cup of either apple juice or water. And make sure it's pure apple juice with no sugar, no additives. But I'm pretty sure we might be safe. We'll see together. While our pears start cooking down, I'm gonna go ahead and get our supper going. I just wanna lightly coat my pan with olive oil. I've got 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts that I seasoned on one side with garlic salt, white pepper, and a little of my clucking good. On the back side, I'm gonna put a little bit of garlic salt, not much. And I'm gonna add a little bit of black cracked pepper. I've got white pepper on the other side. I love to see the black flakes of the pepper and the fettuccine sauce. Guys, this isn't fettuccine. I mean, earlier today I was calling pears apples. What's with me today? And you may ask, I'm sitting on a number 6. And I'm just going to get these cooked on a medium temp. It's not going to take them long. Isn't that beautiful? You see, I'm not cooking them on a high temp. I'm trying not to scorch my oil because we will be using this in our Alfredo sauce. I've got my pot of water coming up to boil for our ziti. And I chose to just use ziti pasta. We have penne. Many of you know Mr. Buddy likes a short pasta, not a long pasta like a spaghetti or a fettuccine. I normally have to break those. So I said, well, I've got ziti. Let's use it. It's still a good pasta. It's got a hole in the center so it can grab up all that goodness. So I've just got my water coming up to boil, and I put a lid on it so it can boil faster. This meal comes together really quick. And then we got to go back out there within about 40 minutes to check on our pears. Because remember, we were going to let them go 2 hours, lid on high temp in the crock pot. They've been going, I watched the clock, about 6 to 7 minutes. I am going to add just a few droplets of water to pick up all this goodness. That's going to give flavor to our sauce. Then I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm going to let it finish cooking in a steam form. That way we can ensure that the inside of the chicken is cooked. You don't want to overcook your chicken, so you may want to temp check. But this is how I do it, just that little bit of water. Put that lid on, 3 minutes, and your chicken's done. Look at that beautiful, I call it a gravy. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the chicken out and let it rest. Still juicy. A heaping teaspoon of minced garlic. And I am turning my heat down to low. The lowest setting because I don't want to burn my garlic. and I'll be adding some pasta water to our sauce. It pays to use jar sauce, Alfredo. Added about 1/8 of a cup of water so I can get all this goodness. And you see, we don't have much cooking going. I've got it as low as it'll go. I wanted all of that out. I've got some half and half here. You can use heavy whipping cream. That's about 1/4 of a cup. And you see the drippings, the gravy, how it's pulling it up. Oh my. Now we're getting ready to put in some good cheese. Now this is Parm, and you want to really let it rain. And again, this is really up to y'all's taste. Guys, a little bit more for Lanya. Now I've got my heat off now because what I don't want to do is string my parm. In other words, I don't want it to bubble. I'm going to let it rain a little bit of some black pepper. Our pasta has about 3 minutes left, so I'm going to add a couple of ladles. About 1/4 of a cup. We've got our ziti cooked al dente. The package said 12 minutes. I cooked it 10. This is how Mr. Buddy loves it. Can't y'all tell he's a big pasta and sauce eater? Let's get it into our dish. Got it spread around evenly. Y'all, he's going to eat probably 3 pieces of garlic toast with this. Here's a chicken breast. Now you can slice this if you want to. I'm not going to lose them juices. But I'm going to come back with a piece of provolone cheese. We're going to add a little bit more parm. And we have to have our green vegetables, guys. Never forget your green vegetables. Just a little bit of parsley. I'm just going to put it in the broiler just till that provolone melts. And then our supper is done, except for the garlic toast. About 4 minutes under the broiler. And look at this. Doesn't that look delicious? Let's see what they look like after 2 hours. Oh boy. No, we definitely don't need to add any apple juice or water. I felt like that was plenty. But guys, we are a pretty good ways from being done. Now, because we have so much juice, this is what I'm going to do. Get it all under that juice. I am going to leave the lid off, and I'm going to let it stay on high another hour to help evaporate some of this liquid. And then in an hour, I will turn this slow cooker to low and cover the lid. And when I put that lid on, I'm going to let it go all night on low with the lid on. So you're not missing anything, but this is part 1 of 2 parts of a pear marathon. The pear butter and the pear preserves. But you're not going to miss anything. We're just going to end at this step of letting it go low all night long, lid on. Okay, because we don't want it to evaporate while we're sleeping. You could actually do this at night and just keep it on low with the lid on. Stir it a couple of times before you go to bed. And by morning time, your pears will be ready to blend. So this is part 1. Tomorrow morning, we will blend it. You'll see it before it gets blended. And then we'll roll into pear preserves. So I don't mean to leave you hanging, but this is just the process. And sometimes good stuff, you have to kind of take these steps. So Mr. Buddy pulled in. I'm going to go make the garlic toast. And we'll close this segment out and we'll resume in the morning. I hope you try the Ziti recipe. If you don't like that much sauce, instead of 2.5 cups of pasta to that amount, do 3 cups. Mr. Buddy likes to sop. And plus, it all comes together when it starts getting happy. But I'm going to go ahead and get us an early supper done. It is extremely hot. We're trying to water. We're under a heat warning. Guys, we got to have some relief, and I'm sure many of you need relief. And that Hurricane Aaron, if y'all are anywhere in that path, even though it doesn't look like it's going to hit land, it still can bring some water surges, some high winds, dump some rain. So we will be praying for you guys. But as always, stay safe, stay well, and God bless. And we'll resume right here in the morning.